megawatt solar farm and 300 megawatt battery energy storage project here in McLennan County. And it's out north of Trading House Creek Reservoir, that area there. We're preparing to submit a proposal to this body soon for a county tax abatement for the project, and just wanted to stop by ahead of time, introduce ourselves, and tell you what we're doing.
Going to D on proclamations, resolutions. We have nothing this week. Under E, under consent agenda, I have no recommended pulls. Does anyone else have a pull from the consent agenda they want to discuss? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, Dustin.
Yes, sir. Judge, if we could.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Call court to order. Today is Tuesday, June 7th, 2022. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda and supplemental agenda were posted on Friday, June 3rd, 2022 at 1:10 p.m.
Thank you. This time, let's stand briefly for a moment of silence, and then we'll have the pledge to the flags.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if there's any members of the audience who want to speak publicly to the Commissioner's Court, please do so at this time. And Reagan, I don't believe we had anyone call in, did we? Okay. Seeing none, I'd like to go to item D under proclamations. And I would like to present a proclamation of the McLennan County Commissioners Court declaring June as Elder Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. I'll read the proclamation and we'll get the court to approve it, and then I'll ask y'all to come up and we'll have some pictures. Okay. All right. Whereas people who are elderly or have disabilities have contributed to the general welfare of McLennan County by helping to preserve customs, convictions, and traditions of many people of diverse backgrounds. And whereas the residents are vital and integral members of our society, and their wisdom and experience have enriched our lives. And whereas abuse of the elderly and people with disabilities in domestic and institutional settings is a widespread problem affecting hundreds of thousands of people across the country. And whereas Texas APS in-home caseworkers in McLennan County have investigated 933 intakes, of which 469 cases of abuse, neighbor and negligent and exploitation confirmed against our elderly Texans with disabilities in 2021. Whereas elder abuse is grossly reported because the elderly who are being abused find it very difficult to tell people of the situation that's going on. Many times they are ashamed of this as well. Whereas elder abuse happens to men and women of all levels, all cultures, ethnic groups, whether they are in good health or incapacitated in some way, in poor neighborhoods or in suburbia. And whereas many of the cases investigated by Adult Protective Services in Texas involve self-neglect, it's our duty as citizens to reach out to these people in need. Therefore, be it proclaimed that McLennan County Commissioners Court does this month of June 2022 as Elder Abuse Prevention Month in McLennan County, and urge all citizens to work together to help reduce abuse and neglect in people, the elderly, and have disabilities. Be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of this Commissioners Court. Witness our hand and seal the 7th day of June 2022. Signed, Scott M. Felton, McLennan County Judge. Jim Smith, Commissioner Precinct 1. Patricia Miller, Commissioner Precinct 2. Will Jones, Commissioner Precinct 3. Commissioner Ben Perry, Precinct 4. And I know the commissioners have heard me say this before, but before I got involved in local politics, I was in banking, and that was one of the things that we were trained to watch for is abuse of elderly people and people with disabilities that were being abused financially, and probably many other ways too. If there was one type of abuse, there's generally more than one type of abuse going on. And so, you know, I encourage people to understand understand the things that set off and the thought that elder abuse might be happening. And it happens in all areas. So I'm very proud to give this proclamation to our group, and I would make a motion that we approve this proclamation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, if y'all want to come forward. I want y'all to come right up here, just face this way. And who will be receiving this? Get, kind of face that wall.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
You like saying that, Court?
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just for you, we are fully staffed now in McLennan County. We have been for a couple of months, so we're actually been really good here.
That's a blessing.
It's one of the luckies.
Yes.
Welcome there, yes. Good job at
Good
that.
staff right now, so.
Good.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you. All have a good day.
Thank you for the work y'all do.
Okay. All right, going to items E under consent agenda. Recommended pulls are E3A, HR matter for IT director position, and H3B, HR matter for district clerk. I'd like to hold those two items. And I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of those pulls.
Second.
Have the motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, Dustin?
Yes, sir. If we could go to item N7, discussion and or action regarding the Tex Health Central Texas Premium Assistance Program. I believe representatives might be in court. I'd like to call on Mr. Rodriguez and Ms. Ellis Zadnick.
I don't know where Jim is, but
Well, come on up to the microphone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So, Dustin, you want to explain what this is?
Yes, sir. So Judge, Commissioner Jones' office had reached out to us about this program, and It helps small businesses with insurance premiums. And so with that, I believe they have a presentation to show the court this morning.
Okay. Good morning. All right.
One second.
If-
You just started.
You have really good timing.
Yeah, perfect. All right. If y'all will introduce yourself and then if you want to go over the program.
Sure. I'm Nora Ellis. I'm a local broker and I bring this program to companies in the area.
Okay.
And I'm Jim Rodriguez. I manage the program, and I've been doing it for about 13 years now. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a fellow in the American College of Healthcare Executives. I've been with them for about almost 20 years now. I'm also the Senior Finance Director for the National Association of Latino Healthcare Executives. I've been in healthcare for over 40 years. I started in managed care centers. I started and run managed care centers. I developed an outpatient hospital. All this was in Ohio before I came to Texas. I was recruited to come to Texas for UTMB, University of Texas Medical Branch, because they wanted to set up this limited benefit plan for small business, low-wage employees. So I was recruited to UTMB in 2008. I set up that program, got it off the ground, got it running. We hit our capacity fairly quickly, so the people in other areas of Texas were also developing these programs. Austin brought me up to take a look at their community and their program. So I went ahead and started consulting with them, got their program up and running, and launched a limited benefit program in Austin in 2010. Then in 2013, with the Affordable Care Act, limited benefit plans were no longer permitted. So what we had to do was shut that program down. And we converted people over to the Premium Assistance Program. That's when we launched the Premium Assistance Program. So we converted everybody who was on our limited benefit program, and we put them into that program. So that's basically how it all came about. Currently, there's about 1,100 members, 120 odd companies in our program. We operate in 6 Central Texas counties, including Harris County, which is south. And we're hoping to be able to operate here in York County. Our money does not come from tax dollars. It's not general revenue that pays for our program. We get our funding through fines and penalties. And what that is when an insurance company like United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, when one of them crosses the line and they get fined, that money goes into what's called the fines, penalties, and sanctions account. And we draw down on that account, and it's managed by the Texas Department of Insurance. So they're like a grantor for us. We're the only grant they actually manage, because it's not in their purview to manage grants. What they do is they regulate. And they regulated us pretty strongly for the first several years, I can tell you that. But they've since, probably in the past 4 years, they've become very partner-oriented. They're really strong partners with us now. We've got a very good working relationship with them. A few years ago, our funding, because it is fines and penalties, you always kind of wonder, well, what if there are no fines and penalties that are collected? Mm-hmm. Well, about 4 years ago, that actually happened to us, and it wasn't that they didn't collect the money. What happened was they decided that they wanted well, they didn't decide. They recognized that the way they handed the money to us was incorrect. We were getting first draw on any monies that were in that account. And then the comptroller went and talked to TDI and said, no, we're supposed to be last. So it was an interpretation of the way the regulation was set up. So we went to the legislature and we talked to several of the legislators and told them, this is going to put us out of business if we're last to get the money. So the legislators worked with TDI. They said, you will come up with the money. And TDI did come up with the money. They funded us for 2 years. And during that 2 years, they continued to collect fines and penalties. So now, as it turns out, we're funded 2 years in advance. So we know 2 years in advance about our funding, and we've never been short. Fines and penalties usually collects between, I'd say they average 8 to 10 million a year. So we don't have any concerns about finances at this point in time. Small businesses have to have 2 to 50 employees. They have to be located, they have to have an office in one of our counties. If it's McClellan County, then McLennan County, then they would be eligible. The employees must live in Texas. Sometimes you'll have a company that's fairly small, but they're geographically spread out. And they may have someone in Oklahoma, for example. Well, we couldn't cover the Oklahoma person. We could only cover the Texas people. They cannot be on Medicaid or Medicare Part B. Part A, of course, is hospitalization, but we will cover them if they're just on Part B, or I'm sorry, not on Part B. And it's employees and owners only. Unfortunately, we don't have the funding for dependents, so we just cover the employee themselves. Oftentimes, on a low-margin business, the owner will also not make very much money. The limit is 400% of federal poverty level, which is $54,360. And oftentimes, owners don't make that much either. But just to make sure that the money's going to the right place, what we normally do is we'll look at their tax returns, both personally and for the business, just to validate that they are actually eligible. And then we will do them also. We currently have about 300 openings, and there's been a lot of turmoil in the market, as you can probably imagine. A lot of people, a lot of churn, a lot of longtime employees leaving their employers and going somewhere else where they offer better benefits or more money. So that's how we ended up with, because of COVID, we ended up with a lot of excess openings. Normally, we'd run about 95%. So that's what brought us to this point. Are there any questions I can answer?
Is this based off of a sliding scale for the income of the business, or does it not?
No, it's just
Just as
strictly,
long as the
as long as they're under that
employees
limit.
54.3, okay.
50 employees or fewer,
Yes, 2 to 50,
and the income level is for employees,
employee only, yes.
400% of the poverty level.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, an employee can have a spouse who works somewhere else, but we don't take that into consideration. It's not means tested. It's just strictly for that business income.
On that previous slide, are all of your eligible counties listed? Is that just a sampling on, is that slide right there, that
2,
second
3,
bullet
4,
point,
5,
is that
6.
all of the counties, or is that just a sampling of your counties?
Those are all the counties that we cover. So,
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, so the business has to be in one of those counties
And so you're limited then countywide.
geographically.
That's a geographic limitation as opposed to, you're worried about expanding out too many counties because the money wouldn't be available then. Is that also true?
Yes.
So you're looking at county sizes, basically. And we
Yeah.
fit that demographic.
Yes, we would actually like for there to be no restrictions on us, that we could operate in any county in Texas because there's such a need. But, you know, the money is limited.
Right.
However, if we get a waiting list, we go back to the legislature, which we did 2 sessions ago, and they gave us a 50% increase because our waiting list was so long. So, I mean, it makes sense to me to try and get as many people lined up as we can. And because of the churn, it's amazing how many people are coming in and going off. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that going on, so.
So although you don't have McLennan County listed, our employers are eligible for this program?
Who?
McLennan.
Yes.
Okay, I just noticed we weren't on that list.
Well, if you approve it.
Okay, then we
Yeah.
become a part of that list. Okay.
It's,
Okay.
no obligation to the county, just asking for an endorsement.
Okay, no, I just was wondering, that's why my first
Yeah,
question
I agree.
was, the eligible counties, were they on that list, or was that just a sampling? I was trying to get a clarification, because I didn't see McLennan County on there. Okay.
So no one has to approve your company coming into McLennan County. It doesn't have to be, Texas Department of Insurance doesn't have to approve it. That's just your decision.
Right. What it is, it's between you and us. Basically, the statute, Senate Bill 10, the statute says that it has to be a county commissioner's court has to approve our operation within that county. It's just part of the statute.
It seems like it's a win-win for us
Well, there's a great opportunity for folks that maybe don't have health care right now. for
right
us.
now.
Yeah.
Probably don't.
Yeah,
Amen.
that's the big,
Amen.
so,
Yeah.
I utilize this program quite often, and it's the jump between employees being able to afford that healthcare and it not. And so, and we're in, I mean, constantly with new groups.
is it 100% or is it just a percentage of each employee's premium?
It's $110. So what it is 1/3 of the total premium. So if the total premium is $500, you know, the employer has to pay 50%. That's insurance regulation. So they would pay $250. The other $250 would be on the employee. We come in and pay $110, so that reduces it down to what? 140,
yeah.
$70 a paycheck. So that's affordable. Now it's becoming affordable.
Okay, the request here is to ask for an endorsement or support from the county. What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to endorse the,
Tex, should have been ready for this. The Tex Health Central Texas Premium Assistance Program.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any other discussion?
And Judge, if I could real quick, I just wanted to point out Suzanne has called other counties and business recipients and received favorable feedback as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Pose, pass. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Sorry I was late.
That's all right.
You were right on time.
Right on time. On the money.
Thank you.
Late would be tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
gonna touch Susan if she has any questions.
Okay, thank you.
okay, Dustin.
If we could go to item N3, discussion and or action regarding the Law Library Committee recommendations, I'd like to call on Josh Borderood.
Morning, Josh.
Morning, Judge. Thanks so much for having me again. Appreciate y'all accommodating on Zoom here, and good to see the commissioners again. We submitted a pretty brief recommendation this year, which is basically just a follow-up from last year's recommendation on one item we weren't able to get to, which is getting some nice framed kind of decorative items for the law library. We're working with the Texas Collection, which y'all may know has the Gildersleeve collection of historical photographs of Waco, McLennan County. We've our committee and studio gallery and Texas Collection have identified some really nice, a little more rare, but images of the courthouse and the courthouse square that we think will make nice additions to kind of completing out the look of the law library. We've this last year got some nicer bookshelves in there to match the furniture. And just as a historical kind of catch up, I think everybody remembers moving the law library from the 4th floor of the courthouse. Used to be the old balcony of the 54th back in the day. It was converted to a law library, and that is now, my understanding is either one of the courts of law or the specialty court up there on the 4th floor. And so we've moved down to the basement of the annex where there is a conference room. There are 3 computer terminals. There's another table, and there are some physical resources, but also most of the resources are digital or online resources for what we call pro se or self-represented litigants and lawyers making use of the law library. So what we're asking for is up to $2,000 in law library funds for the 3 framed items that we're requesting. And that's just a continuation of last year's request, upping it about $500, but to come strictly out of the law library budget, which my understanding has significant funds in it and should easily cover this.
Right. Well, I think I would move that we approve this, and I want to make a comment that I really appreciate all the folks that's worked hard to work on the transition of law library and working very closely with us, and we appreciate that relationship so much. And so I'd make a motion we approve this.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Judge. It's been a pleasure working with the commissioners, Dustin Chapman and Cody Miles on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right,
All right, Judge, we could go to item N8, discussion and or action on order regulating certain fireworks in the unincorporated areas of the county.
all right.
Under the local government code, the court can adopt an order regulating certain fireworks. These are the ones known as skyrockets with sticks or sticks with fins. We're in that July 4th holiday period. We must adopt this order before June 15th. And if we do want to approve an order, it can be to either prohibit or restrict the certain fireworks. I think the recommendation from Elizabeth, and she's on, so she can correct me if I'm wrong, would be to prohibit those skyrockets with sticks or sticks with fins. And then we also have to list an expiration date. It will either expire on the date the Texas Forest Service determines drought conditions no longer exist in the county, or we can insert a date on or after July 4th. And this period runs through midnight on July 4th. So I think that would be a good time to have that termination.
Elizabeth, you have anything to add to that?
No, I do recommend the restriction of fireworks this year. Most of McLennan County is in drought 2 conditions. Parts of our western county and McGregor and Crawford are in drought 3 and drought 4. So we are in a major drought. Our KDVI is up to 458 as an average. So we are not looking good. There's a danger for any kind of fires or wildfires starting with fireworks. So if there's anything we can do to prevent that, that would be my recommendation to move forward with that restriction for this year.
You know, although we've had some showers recently, if you've looked at the 10-day forecast of over 100 degrees and higher, with some wind on some days being windy, that it will not take very long for it to turn around and look completely different than it does today. So, any questions?
So let me get it straight. What we're considering doing is restricting the use of fireworks defined as skyrockets with sticks, and that the restriction or limitation end at midnight on July the 4th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That'd be my motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. All right, thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir.
All right. I see Francis on, so if we can move back to item F, budget amendments. F1's regarding the FY22 budget. Francis.
Thank you. Good morning. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. We have quite a list of budget amendments for the current year, so I will get started with F1A. So F1A is general fund for 414th District Court, and they are requesting to move within their department into supplies and furniture and equipment. F1B1, this starts 3 that are all linked to Fund 401, the Permanent Improvement Fund. First being that F1B1, this is permanent improvement, requesting the request is to increase the line item for building modifications at the Highway 6 jail. And this is in relation to replacing some steel on walls. F1B2, also permanent improvement. The request is to increase the line item for building modifications at the maintenance of buildings facility or office. And this is to cover materials as well as installation of some safety glass and flooring. F1B3, then Fund 401 as well. This is a request to just alter some lines within that fund. We're moving a piece of the budget for the JP4 building modifications into the JP3 building modifications. F1C1, this is in the 2021 bond proceeds fund where those are held. The request is to increase the line item for mold remediation at the juvenile center. And then F1C2, also 2021 bond proceeds. On May the 3rd, you approved a microwave proposal for the tower projects. So this budget amendment covers the spread of those funds to this specific locations. It also includes an additional amount for an item that's on the agenda today in relation to the Road and Bridge 4 tower. F1C3, again, 2021 bond proceeds. We're requesting to move an amount from contingencies in that fund into ADA modifications. And this will cover the listing of the last CP&Y invoices that have been approved. F1D, this is cleaning up some line items just between the two funds we used to hold the 2019 and 2021 bond proceeds. But it is just to accommodate some cost also related to the tower project at Road and Bridge 4. And it's just moving in between those two funds. F1E, this is also cleaning up some line items in the 2019 bond proceeds fund. There are two projects that have reached completion, those being ADA modifications at the JP2 building, as well as Spiegelville Road. So what we're doing is moving budget that was remaining in those line items and moving it into line items that either need it or putting money back into contingencies. So you'll see there at the top, a small amount going back into contingencies, but then amounts needed in the tower project line for precinct 4 and then Chapel Road. F1F, this is in Fund 140, which is the Justice Court Assistance and Technology Fund. The request is to increase line items for JP Precinct 4. It'll cover the costs that are needed for the new clerk position, that being equipment and software. F1G, this is general fund. On April the 5th, you approved an interlocal agreement with the city of McGregor for improvements that were going to be made to Judith Road. So this budget amendment allows the expense to begin. So we've just moved half of what the max agreement was, that we've moved 250,000, and we are moving from the infrastructure line in that same department, which is the countywide road and bridge. F1H, this is general fund, Constable Precinct 4, due to the fact that they are expanding their space, modifying the space in that facility. They have a need for additional furniture and equipment, as well as a security camera. They are able to accommodate a portion of the request from within their department, but then they're requesting for the remainder of the from contingencies in general fund. F1I, this is general fund and the countywide department. We are needing to increase the liability insurance line item, and that is due to policies that have been approved recently. There was just increased costs that weren't anticipated for the upcoming year. And we're also requesting to increase furniture and equipment, and it would cover the cost of first aid kits that are being purchased by maintenance of buildings to go into various county office buildings. F1J1, I'll skip over that one for now. I think Lisa will need to speak to that after we finish the budget amendments. But F1J2 is general fund for information technology. They're just requesting to move within their department into professional development. F1K is general fund for the purchasing department, requesting to move within their department into furniture and equipment for a monitor as well as bookshelves for their office. F1L is general fund for Road and Bridge Precinct 2, requesting to move from the contingencies in that department into capital outlay for the purchase of a trailer and a lawnmower. F1M is general fund, road and bridge precinct 3. The request is to move from the contingencies in that department into road construction materials. F1N, that is for road and bridge precinct 1, requesting to move from their capital outlay line item into motor vehicle operating and repair and maintenance. And then F10 is a certification of revenue. The certification is for proceeds from the last auction. The amount is specific to items that were being used by Road and Bridge 3. And then there's an attached budget amendment. The request is to increase by that same amount, breaking it up between road construction materials and tires, tubes, and batteries.
Okay, now, did you want to come back to F1J1?
I think Lisa needs to speak on that one. So if y'all want to go ahead and if she's on, I'm not sure if she's available.
Okay, well, in the meantime, would entertain a motion to approve F1A through F10 with the exception of F1J1.
Correct.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right,
Lisa showed up.
okay, Lisa's on.
Yes, there you go. Sorry, I was muted.
F1J1.
Yes, sir. For my request, I wanted to bring to court's attention that during our FY23 technology assessments, we've discovered a number of our Adobe upgrades were missed during FY22. That was one of our intended upgrade targets. So I do have about $19,000 in surplus funds for FY22, and I would like to ask court to utilize those funds to go ahead and make the Adobe purchases and get those deployments out this year. This would help to reduce the expected costs for FY23. The anticipated cost for this upgrade would be $13,534, and that would be for 22 full licenses. Total cost there is $10,956, and 14 upgrade licenses coming to $2,577.96.
And so we would reduce your 23 budget by this amount.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions anyone would have?
Lisa, when you're saying upgrades, and help me here, with Adobe, when you get a license, they don't automatically during that license period upgrade, they charge you for upgrades? Are these additional terminals that need Adobe licenses?
These are not new installations. These are upgrades, and you get if you upgrade directly behind a version update, you can get a discount on that cost. If there is if you skip a version or two, then you would need to pay a full license. So that's the difference in the two costs.
Okay, so if you have the license and they have an upgrade that comes on, that's automatically upgrade put on there without any additional cost? Or is there additional?
No, sir. Adobe does not do an automatic upgrade.
Okay, all right.
You do have to purchase that. So there's a cost savings if you follow the versions in that moment and you don't skip versions. If you do skip a version, then you have to pay the full cost.
And I assume that upgrades come with some security enhancements, probably.
Yes, there could be feature enhancements, security improvements, and such.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve F1J1.
Yes.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. All right, Dustin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
F2 is regarding the FY23 budget. F2A is the Waco McLennan County Library discussion and or action regarding funding allocation. I've visited with Ryan Holden, SED again. They're going to come back on June 21st and kind of give a more in-depth presentation on the services the library provides and how things have changed over the years with those services. So no action needed on this today, but Judge, I guess we can defer it.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we defer. Is there a second? Second. Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Under item G, bids, RFPs, RFQs, G1 is discussion and or action on bid 22-009 roadside cleaning assistance. Ken?
Yes, sir. I did this one a little bit different. I didn't just write out a recommendation to come to court. We received one response on our bid for the roadside cleaning assistance from All Around Maintenance. I wanted to, I know it said for Dustin and Cinnamon, but I'm here, so. Anyway, we only got one response, and in their initial response, they only put down an amount of $1,285 per day for precinct 4. But in the notes, it does say prefer to service precinct 4, but willing to service any as needed. And so we had all 4 down. And so with a little bit more explanation, I asked them to send something and said, we plan on having 3-man crew to take care of the scope of work required in this solicitation. We will supply our team with a dependable 3/4-ton truck, 20-foot tandem axle trailer, and all the necessary safety equipment and supplies they would need to complete the work in a timely and professional manner. We bid on just precinct 4, but would be happy to share our time in other precincts as needed. And with time, if this work continues, I will be willing to add extra crews to take on all 4 precincts. So they just really want to just get started with 1 crew. And so I really came to kind of discuss this and say, with 1 crew, and I got 4 precincts, and it's kind of like, how would you like to divide that up? And it's been suggested that we do a precinct a week and just rotate it through the process. And I didn't know what you thought about that. And so I didn't just come out and make a recommendation. We only have 1 response. And I just wanted to see how you wanted to proceed. And I did put it down as a discussion and or action as to how you wanted to go with this bid recommendation.
Personally, I think a week at a time is very good. That's plenty. I don't see why they couldn't. They're gonna be assisted with our crews telling them where we have hot spots and problems.
Yes.
So the week at a time in each precinct, I think works out wonderfully. And then I already see Commissioner Smith on the calculator, and I'll see if I'm anywhere close to what he's coming up with, but that's about $83,000 a year per precinct.
That's
right?
Yeah, that's.
Which our MacPups are running us 54, 55, maybe more than that, quite honestly.
Salary on that deputy.
And I will share with you that just my thoughts before I even got started, that was in the ballpark of what I was actually thinking all along without coming out and saying it. I actually visited with TJ on what his thoughts were before starting, and TJ and I both came up with about the same thing. So again, I wanted to share, like I say, I do understand that they will maybe add more crews in our future so that we can have more cleanup going, but this is a way to get started with what y'all asked me to try to provide. So
right now, today, we're accepting the proposal for them to do precinct 4
Well,
with a conversation that
actually,
they'll
I'll have that
expand?
conversation that we want to do a weekly rotation for each precinct.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
Today, we're saying that we accept their proposal to do precinct 4, and then we're gonna move forward with conversations for them to do the other precincts.
yes. You know, right
I,
now,
I,
just the
I,
one,
I
one
like
through
what
with the
you're
weekly.
saying.
I think
I
we
get,
need-
we gotta get the vendor to like what we're saying.
Right, we gotta think through, I don't know that we necessarily want to say, sure, go ahead with precinct 4, and then they say, well, I have no interest in any of the other precincts.
Yeah, and my conversation is going to be, I want you to clean all 4 precincts, but it'll be a weekly rotation. You'll be at precinct 1 one week, then precinct 2 the next, 3 the next, and 4 the next. And then it'll come back to precinct 1. And so that you're getting a week a month, basically, cleaning your roadsides where you feel they need to be cleaned. And like I said, we can add later.
If we use a July 1 start date, which I think is reasonable, trying to get everything, all the ducks in a row, that's 12 weeks
Yes,
till the new budget year.
that's right.
Approximately, probably 12 weeks, right?
Yes,
And each of us gets 1 week, right?
yes.
1 week a month,
I'm
1
just,
week in a month, so that's really 3 times. Three times we're gonna get between now and October 1. Ken, is that correct?
that would be correct.
Which I think would give us a good idea.
It'd give us a good idea. It should be,
Yes.
yeah, give us a,
Can we defer today to find out what their answer is with regards to
what we're talking about.
the precincts?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would like to do that because
You
I.
wanna defer it? I
listen,
didn't have a
precinct
problem.
4, I'm glad, I'm tickled that they bid, but we've got,
Yeah.
we've got 4 precincts in the county and we've all got the.
And I think
got the
they're
same
really
problem.
intimating that they will do that. But again, we can get that.
We're gonna move from
clarification.
intimating to confirmation.
Yes,
Do it.
Okay.
So I'll second your motion to defer.
okay.
All right,
Very
we have a
good.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you, Ken.
G2, authorization of subscription quote with SR Fax, digital email fax service for health services. Lisa?
Yes, this request is regarding moving to the digital fax service, SR Fax, for the Indigent Health Care Office. Currently, they're using an AT&T landline that is approximately at an annual cost of $467.40. And moving to the digital service, they can get that rate for an annual charge of $193.20. As with the other offices that we've been moving, this includes the setup charge of $1 to the credit card that will be reimbursed, and a one-time setup expense of $25. This will give them an 800-page per month service. Any additional pages are 5 cents. There will need to be, they'll need a 30-day period to port their number over to this service. And the department has the funds within their budget to take over that subscription cost.
Any questions?
So our estimated annual savings of $274.20. We're gonna save money by making this switch.
Yes, sir.
No brainer.
Oh, and it is HIPAA compliant. I did mean to mention that, given the nature of the business in their office, we are using the service that is HIPAA compliant.
And it'll be HIPAA compliant. Okay, yeah. Motion to approve.
Yes, sir.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor of this no-brainer, say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Item H, contracts, interlocal agreements. H1, Judge, if we could hold this for now, it's the agreement with Brinkley Sargent Wigington until later in the agenda.
Okay.
H2 is authorization of pricing supplement agreement with TransUnion Risk and Alternative Data Solutions. This item needs to be deferred.
All right, is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed.
H3, authorization of support and maintenance agreement with Excella Technologies for records management agreement. Lisa?
Yes, sir. I guess I should have left that on. So this is the third and final annual renewal for this service that is used by our archives office. The cost this year is a small increase of $91.71. This term will take us from July 11th, 22 to July 10th of 23.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a motion made and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
H4, authorization of customer service agreement with RW Lone Star Security for shredding services for the Highway 6 jail. Ken?
For many years, we've had an agreement with Stericycle Shred-It for picking up the items that needed to be securely recycled. And we were having a hard time. They weren't making their pickups on the schedules that they had originally agreed to. We were collecting up excess materials. We were trying to get them to pick up the excess materials, and literally they wouldn't wait for us to package it in a way that they would accept it. And I'll just share, basically we didn't care for the way they were working. We sent them a deal and canceled their contract with the Highway 6 jail, and we bring before you a contract with RW Lone Star that we're actually already using at Jack Harwell. And so it's just a different agreement with another company, Jack Harwell, where they'll supply 5 containers. They have a per service visit charge of $175, and they'll charge $35 for additional containers, and they'll pick up every 2 weeks.
Okay. All right, any questions?
Pretty comparable to what the other contract was and the number of containers and everything?
I think so. They have larger containers, so a little bit different. So it may look like it's charging maybe a little bit more, but I think we're getting a little bit more coverage, and hopefully they will stay on their schedule.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H5, authorization of service order agreement with Astound Business Solutions, acting on behalf of itself and its agent for Grande Communications for internet services for archive health services offices. Lisa?
Yes, this request is to change internet providers in the archives building, which would, it provides services for both indigent healthcare and archive staff. Currently, they are with NextLink, and they have a 30 by 30 megabit connection. This costs them about $250 a month. Through the Grande services, we can get increased bandwidth of 500 by 50 megabit and save $20 a month. So that rate is $230, but this would be a new 3-year term. So it's my recommendation to make this change.
All right, saves $240 annually.
So one of those no-brainers?
Yes, sir.
Well, it sounds like.
Another no-brainer.
Okay.
All right.
Motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Second, we have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
H6,
You said inflation was rampant.
That's right.
H6 is authorization of agreements and related documents with CTWP for the county clerk's office copiers. This is an agreement with CTWP for the lease of 2 copiers for the recording department in the county clerk's office. They total $2,849.46 a year for each copier, and the term of that lease is 5 years.
And also included with that is their maintenance agreement that for the 2 copiers of $720 annually for a base amount of 13,000 copies for the two Minolta copiers.
Okay. Any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H7 is authorization of professional engineering services agreement proposal with Lockwood, Andrews and Newnham Incorporated for Trading Post Road Creek Crossing Improvement Project. Zane?
Morning, Zane.
Yes, sir. Good morning. This item is for a professional engineering services contract that will include a drainage study and engineering design plans and additional efforts to help with the bidding services and construction inspection for a low water crossing on Trading Post Road in Precinct 2. It'll be swapping out, replacing some bad rail car culverts with concrete culverts. And the price is $62,000 and it's been recommended for approval.
Okay.
No questions, I would move that we would approve the agreement with Lockwood, Andrews and Neiman.
Second.
All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H8, authorization of interface agreement with Clinical Pathology Laboratories for Highway 6 Jail Electronic Medical Record Interface. David Ives?
This is
Morning, David.
I'm sorry?
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. How are y'all? I'm sorry.
We're good.
We're happy.
This is an agreement with CPL, and what they're going to allow us to do, instead of doing the manual data entry that we normally have to do on this, they are going to create an electronic interface that will import the data that we need for our medical department from CPL directly into our core EMR service. There is a fee, but they are paying the fee. We are not paying anything. They are absorbing that fee, and that's in section 1.1 of the agreement.
Okay, any questions?
Is this HIPAA compliant and everything? We're all right there, David?
It is, and on top of it, it reduces the amount of labor our employees have to spend on manually entering this data. And of course, it's always going to reduce errors. Anytime you have manual data entry, you're always going to have a higher occurrence of errors. So it makes the data more accurate that's coming into our system as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
H9, authorization of preventative maintenance inspection agreement with Cummins Allison for a tax office copier. Ken?
Yes, a little while back, the tax office purchased a JetScan 4062 ES copier. We had a misunderstanding on the maintenance agreement. We now have the maintenance agreement before the court. It's for $428 per year. They have other copiers. Again, it just was a little confusion on this maintenance agreement. So,
okay, any questions?
No. Ken, I would say, looking at the contract, I noticed it also, what I like about a lot of maintenance agreements, all they do is come in and clean it at the start of the year, and then you're stuck if something happens. But looking at the contract, they're actually taking care of problems if they occur during the contract year. They'll replace parts or whatever needs to be done. So I
Yes,
like
sir.
that type of maintenance agreement. Thank you. I move to approve.
Second.
All right, have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Under item I, Waco McLennan County Economic Development Corporation, I1 is authorization of program project agreement with Magnolia LLC. This is an agreement for Magnolia to relocate its corporate headquarters to the old Tribune Herald headquarters on Franklin. In it, Magnolia agrees to expend no less than $13,600,000 in personal and/or real property improvements at the facility. And they also make commitments to create, fill, and retain at least 75 new jobs that are WIMDEC eligible. And through this, WIMDEC will be providing funds in the amount of $1,250,000.
And just to be clear, we have not done any incentive programs with them prior to this. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. What's the pleasure of the court? Are there any questions? I'll make a motion we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Under item J, capital improvement and maintenance and construction projects, J1's regarding the Mart Water Project street repair agreement with City of Mart, authorization of third and final payment request. I know Zane has been monitoring those roads and there has been progress, but I don't believe they are completed yet. So I think the recommendation would be to defer this again.
That would be my motion.
All right, there's a motion to defer. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
J2 regarding capital improvement projects for the Cameron Park Zoo, agreement with City of Waco, authorization of invoice for the Education Center and Veterinary Hospital and Hoofstock Barn. Court remembers back in September of 2019, we approved an agreement with the City of Waco for the design, construction, and operation of these new facilities. And per the agreement, the city has submitted this invoice totaling $238,003.54. It has been reviewed by Frances, and she has communicated with me as she was heading to her classes that it is her recommendation is to approve.
Right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Under item L, grant proposals, L1s regarding the U.S. Department of Treasury, Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, American Rescue Plan Act. Judge, we do have Tom Ray on the line. He has a quick presentation on the arsenic issues. I don't know if you'd like to do it now or hold it until later.
Let's do it now if he's available.
Okay. Tom, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Okay. Do I need to share my screen or has your IT folks put it up?
Tom, I don't know if it made it to IT yet. If you don't mind screen sharing, that would be great.
Okay, give me a half a second. What I would like to visit with the group about with the court this morning, I appreciate the opportunity to do this, is to take a quick minute to talk about a meeting. I need to get into, hold on just a second. Maybe this will look better. There we go, maybe. All right. Wanted to visit with you about a meeting that's up on Thursday with all of the arsenic impacted systems within McLennan County. They have been invited to this meeting. The judge is going to host the meeting, provide the introductory comments, and inform these systems of the ARPA funding that the court is considering making available. So that again is this Thursday at 9 o'clock. Here are the systems. These are either representatives from individual systems. The BRA is also invited. The BRA has done quite a bit of work looking at the problems here, so they need to be a part of this. But these are the systems that have been invited from.
Tom, you need to go to that slide. Oops, excuse me.
Can you see that?
Tom, it's not advancing.
It's not advancing to the second slide.
Why isn't it advancing?
Click on it.
What? Hold on, technical difficulty, and then hit share again. That one? Okay. We've got a helper in here, so maybe we can get through it. Anyway, these are the systems that have been invited, the individuals, and we're hearing back. There should be a good group on Thursday. Did that change? Do you see that slide?
Right.
With the agenda, this is the agenda for the meeting. we sent out last week and reviewed with the judge a questionnaire to get more information on these systems needed to understand how they would use the ARPA funds. And also any information that they have on other available funds. I attended the
He's locked up.
Tom, you there?
Judge, I think we did lose him.
Okay.
Judge, do we have any idea what the attendance?
infrastructure bill will be discussed.
There he is.
There we go, Tom.
Oh, okay. This is, I'm sorry, I have trouble with my,
Okay,
that's again, that's the agenda I was just talking about,
okay,
okay?
all right.
Do you see this?
Yes, that's the questionnaire. And
That's the questionnaire. We're trying to get all these systems and their engineers to give us more information about their projects, where they are with the projects, when will they be completed? Have they got other financial assistance that they've either requested or secured? What's the status of the Texas Water Development Board's SRF, State Revolving Fund commitment? So we have asked a couple of times for these systems to provide this information, and so they'll be prepared to go over it at the meeting on Thursday. So that's our agenda and the questionnaire and the information that we hope to obtain on these systems. Again, we're looking at 44% of the county's ARPA funds to support the arsenic impacts that are a direct result from a mandate by the federal government on the level of arsenic in drinking water systems.
right. Now, basically, we'll have the representatives, and then some of them may have their engineers with them. We've encouraged that, but primarily to pitch out that the court has considered calculation of 44% of the 10 million allocated towards the water projects, for 44 or 4.4 million of it to go towards arsenic remediation and to be in compliance, and the hope that this reduces the obligation to the people at the meter. Some of these have their loans in place, and others, I'm not exactly sure, but that's one of the reasons for the meeting, and the questionnaire covers that. So this will give us a good understanding where everybody is, and then what challenges that we've got to be sure we are in compliance with the final rule of ARPA to make sure this happens. And of course, the other thing, most of them already have a solution and a time frame that they intend to implement these solutions. So we'll make sure all those things are in order. And then once we get all the questions answered and we have a solution, that then we'll bring it back to court for our court to see and understand where we'll be going with this. So any questions anyone have for Tom or myself?
Judge, I would say, and I recognize Rome wasn't built in a day, but if some of these projects are project-ready, funding in place, and all they're needing is our support, I hope we can find that out from this meeting and move to get that money in their hand, and the arsenic problem be mitigated and taken care of. So the sooner the better.
Well, I know that some of the water systems already, you know, they've got the design, everything, and, they've even got, the, underwriting of Water Development Board, see that they think their project is good and will fix the problem. And so, and then, really appreciate Brazos River Authority being a part of this with us. Then, you know, we invited, like City of Mart, that does not have an arsenic issue directly, but they may be part of the solution, to some of this as well, because they can.
Water treatment.
Yeah, they've got a water treatment, plant that's underutilized, so, and they've got a desire to be a part of it too, so. All right?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate your time.
All right,
Just a comment, I just think it's a good step in moving us forward.
yes, yeah. All right, Dustin?
All right, item L1A1 is discussion and or action on ARPA funding request and or related agreements. L1A1 Central Texas Industrial Training Center. And we've been gathering required info from TSTC. We think Mike has been drafting an agreement. Think it's just about ready to go to BKD for its review. So our recommendation is to keep this deferred at this time.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we defer. Second. There a second? Have motion, did you say?
Second, yes, sir.
We have motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose, pass, thank you.
L1B regarding the professional consulting contract with Lockwood Andrews and Newnham Incorporated, authorization of professional services invoice number 6. This is invoice from Land totaling $5,653.53 for their services through May 13th.
Okay, any questions about that? What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, pass.
L1C regarding the professional services agreement with BKD LLP, authorization of grant administration services invoice through April. This invoice totals $1,700 for grant administration services through April the 30th, and it is recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions?
When did the application deadline close? Dustin, what was our date?
Commissioner, I think it was March 31st.
March 31st. Okay, so in reality, BKD should have reviewed all applications that have been made, correctly?
Well, we did hold some of the ones, the last round of nonprofits that came in, that's when the court was focusing on the water infrastructure. And so we didn't want to unnecessarily increase any expenses with BKD. And so there are some of those that we've made them aware of, but that we have held on for those would be ones that would likely be a pretty quick review anyway. But there are some of those that they have not reviewed yet.
Okay, so this $1,700 then is for reviewing applications that were received prior to March 31st?
It could take some in through April. We've had questions for Danny Martinez during that time about the TSTC project and about some others. And so that's probably where the bulk of this time
That's where it
was.
came from. Okay, that explains it. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on L1C? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose, pass.
L2s regarding the bipartisan infrastructure law, discussion and or action on funding guidelines, opportunities. And Judge, I don't believe we have any update this week.
All right, no action needed.
I think no action is fine.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
I have a question.
I know we're working on L2. Maybe this question is most appropriate for Dustin. I guess I'm just trying to figure out, are we needing more people around the table to look at this, to even see if this is a viable path forward? I guess, I keep seeing it on the agenda, and it looks like it's a really great idea. So I guess I'm asking, kind of like, where are we with it, and maybe what is needed to push the process?
Dustin, could I handle this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Commissioner, probably what we need to do next is get us a grant administrator, because this infrastructure grant program is very confusing, very technical. There's some grants that you can qualify for just because of your population or other things. And there's some grants that are competitive, meaning you have to be worse off than somebody else. So we really and truly need to get a grant administrator on as soon as possible. And we should, I don't know if it would be a good thing to go out for requests for qualifications or just go directly with one. But if we're looking to possibly get reimbursed for their activities, we probably need to put out an RFQ for a grant administrator for the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act.
And Mike, I don't mean to interrupt, but we did do that. And Ken, we've received 2 responses, and Ken Francis and myself have been reviewing those. I think our next step for that is to, and Ken can correct me, just to continue our review and then bring the recommendation to court and maybe visit with one of those firms. But we did only receive 2 responses. And then Commissioner, a lot of this money it's of course not flowing directly to the local governments from what we've seen. Many are going to the state governments who are then setting up the grant programs to apply. And so there have been a few of these that have that are out there, and it's in the transportation areas so far, and things that we really would not qualify for or be ones that we were likely to apply just from our review of it. But I do believe that, you know, the money should be flowing more readily, but it is going to the states, is what it looks like, who are then setting up those application processes.
Dustin, who did we get proposals back from?
It was, and Ken can help, there was an Mike, it's not a Grant Works or anybody like that. There was one out of Texas that's they do some grant administration work, but have a lot of infrastructure experience. And then the other is kind of a national firm, and they're kind of flip-flop. They do a lot of FEMA and disaster recovery. Ken, do you remember the names of the companies?
One of them was TCL, and the other was, I'm sorry, like you say, it starts with the M, and I can't think of it right now.
Did we, in addition to advertising, send anything directly to Langford or Grant Works or any of them?
Yes, we did.
And I saw a Grants Works representative at the Hot Cog meeting the other day, and she was working on some grants for Hot Cog, which we could have possibly be eligible for. I don't know exactly what they were, but exactly what Dustin said, that the House passed the bipartisan bill, which would have funded money directly if the Senate would have approved it into these projects, but they didn't. The Senate failed to do that, and so it went like TxDOT. When we were going to Congressman Sessions about funding for the Spiegelville Bridge replacement, when he explained to us that money has now gone to TxDOT, so we're going to get the MPO to work on trying to access those funds through the state level. And so, you know, Doc Anderson and Birdmore both know about it. So a lot of it is the work we do politically, I guess you'd call it politically or legislatively, to try to get some help from our elected officials. And then the other would use a third-party vendor, a grant writer type.
And Tom Ray just sent me a message that, just as an example, all funding for water and wastewater is going through the Texas Water Development Board.
Yeah.
Has anyone spoken directly with Grant Works or any of those people and asked them if this is something they would be interested in, or?
Well, we sent them.
We sent them, but have we followed up and asked why they weren't? Or is there a reason, is there a need to try to broaden the search, or I guess y'all are in the middle looking at these people. The 2 that you've received, Dustin, are preliminarily, do they look like reputable, that would be something we'd be comfortable with working with, or?
They do look like reputable firms. It's just really, one of them appeared to have a really deep grant bench or a grant team, how you want to say it, and the other was more geared towards infrastructure type. So neither one, appeared just kind of on the surface to be a great fit. But then as you start digging into them, you start thinking, well, the one that might not have as deep as a grant bench, they have a lot of infrastructure experience, and this is mainly an infrastructure bill. And so maybe that ends up being a good fit for us.
And my concern, Commissioner, I hear where you're coming from, but if they don't have time to respond to this and we pursue them and they say, okay, we'll do it, then how do we know they're gonna be timely and get the work done?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we've actually used LAN, Tom Raid for, grants pertaining to water, for the McLennan County Water Resource Group, through Department of Reclamation grant and others, so that's also an option, real specific to water, what our needs are, so we'll lose that option.
Yeah, but I agree with Commissioner Miller. A third-party vendor, somebody who's been down the road before is the way to go. So.
Yeah.
And Commissioner, let me just share, when we're still in the middle of a proposal, trying to evaluate what we got, I generally don't go asking the others why they didn't respond.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the two respondees were MCL Recovery out of Florida, and then TLC Engineering out of Houston. That's the two.
TLC and MCL?
Yes. So I kind of had the.
You sound like an orthopedic guy talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But we did pick out everyone that we've done business with in the past, and sent them directly our proposal, and we had extensive list of what we were kind of looking for, and that was the two responses that we got.
One of them's, TLC's out of Houston and MCL's out of Florida. Is that what you said?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
all right. All right, Dustin.
All right, L3 is regarding the Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart Grant Assistance Agreement, authorization of amendment number 2, period of performance extension. This is on our water marketing strategy grant, and all this does is it changes the completion date from March 31st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. We just need a motion to approve that, the amendment and date extension.
All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
L4 is regarding the Texas Department of Health Services funding COVID-19 testing and mitigation activities and confinement facilities funding, authorization of grant application, contract, and related documents. Last court session, we had brought this forward to court to make you aware of a potential funding opportunity through the Department of State Health Services. And things have advanced rather quickly with it, and we now think we need to go ahead and bring this to court for the court to approve the grant application and related documents. So David Ives, did you want to add anything to this?
So that's pretty much it, Dustin, and they've updated that to include some clerical salary, but essentially we're getting testing kits and some other items from this, and this is just the preliminary beginning of the process, and y'all can see the paperwork for the amount of equipment and supplies that we're going to receive for it, and we're just asking for y'all's approval to submit this. This is new to us. We don't even know if this is the official or just the introductory application to see if we would even qualify, but we just want to advise the court of this before we make any determination in submitting this paperwork.
Any questions? I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion made and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Under item M, Department Office Specific Requests, M1's County Sheriff, authorization of weapon trade-in request under the local government code. Ken?
Yes, we received a request from the Sheriff's Office. They have a rather lengthy list of pistols, various pistols, rifles, and shotguns They would like to trade those in for some other weapons supplies. The trade-in is estimated at $9,000. We included a list of those weapons in this request. And just to remind the court, in the Local Government Code, Chapter 263, under 263.152 disposition, the Commissioners Court may offer the property as trade-in for new property of the same general type, and the Commissioners Court considers the action to be in the best interest of the county. I checked with Francis, and I think we're both in agreement. We're trading in weapons, and we're getting parts that go on weapons, that it would be in the same general type of material. So we bring this to the Commissioners Court for your consideration.
Okay, any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, a second, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
M2, Information Technology Status Update on McLennan County Cybersecurity Training Completeness Report as mandated by Texas House Bill 3834. Lisa?
Yes, Brennan sent updated report out to each of the members of the court. Hopefully you've seen that. We've gotten some of the training completed, but we still lack 3 individuals at this time. 2 offices of which have not contacted the IT office. One of the offices we are working with administrative level staff on getting that training completed.
Of these 3, are any of them new hires that really hadn't come on board yet? That I noticed that was on the, didn't realize earlier.
Yes, sir. One of them is a fairly recent hire, I believe in late May. I don't have that date in front of me. And that is the one that we're working with the office to get completed. They thought they had completed it. My suspicion is it was the HR training that they completed. So we'll be meeting, reaching out to them again today to get clarity on that and see if we can get that wrapped up.
Okay.
The other 2 offices we've had no contact with. We've
Okay,
tried to reach
so-
them by email and phone.
Okay, so if the consequences of not completing that would be to shut off their access?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That would be recommended.
so is that a court action or is that a state designated action? Dustin, do you know?
I don't think that's a state designation. I think they leave that up to us how to manage that.
That's correct. I believe it would be, Commissioner's Court would give that authority to, or it's probably an understood authority as the IT director's role to be able to terminate that access or suspend it, rather.
Okay. All right. Well, so I guess, next Commissioners Court meeting, any updates on that, let us know. And then when it comes to the point of, court needing to make a decision, will give us a little heads up, so we'll have it on.
Okay, I believe our next court meeting is going to be the 21st. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and our deadline for entering this is going to be June 14th. So next Tuesday is the deadline for getting this training completed.
That's our deadline, right?
No, that is the state's
State
deadline.
mandated.
Okay.
Lisa, what are the 2 offices that are the office that's not responding at all?
We have Constable Precinct 3 and County Court at Law number 2.
We can probably send a nastygram that talks about the suspension of computer access or system access during this week and get that done, I'd hope.
So is the okay, so we send the communication this week, but we do not suspend access until when?
14.
Until after the 14th.
Okay.
Lisa, can you contact these individuals personally?
I have tried.
They know about it. They know.
And I believe the county judge's office sent communications out to those
Right.
offices as well.
I've sent that.
I'm not sure what that engagement looked like.
So
Look, go ahead.
I'm just saying, personally, I think, at 5 PM on the 14th, they've been given plenty of notice. You've reached out, Lisa, judge's office has reached out. We'd have compliance by 5:15 or 5 o'clock on the 14th. I'm not sure there's other
Avenues?
options than to
Yep.
suspend service.
Hey,
Well,
Lisa.
especially since there's a court involved, because that involves a lot of the filings that come in and stuff like that. We probably need to work with them a little bit to try to get them on board.
Well, I guess my question, Lisa, is you suspend that individual's access, not the office's access, correct?
That is correct.
So
Okay.
any paperwork that the individual hands to somebody else to input is still going to happen.
I believe it will be impactful for both of those
I do
offices,
too. I think it will be.
given their positions.
Okay. Hey, on new employees, when new employees come on, do they have a year from the date of employment to take the security training, or is it 90 days or 6 months? What's the state reg on that?
They haven't really, for the state, they need to do this annually. We encourage the offices to ensure the staff has taken that within the first 2 weeks. Sometimes we're seeing that deadline met, sometimes not.
I mean, you could be
system
hired the
sends
day
routine-
before, you could be hired 6/13 and not be able to meet that deadline if you didn't have a year to, or so many days or weeks. So I think somebody that's hired very close to that date, there needs to be some expectation that perhaps they're not gonna make that 14th deadline if they're hired.
Yes, sir. And we've given that allowance in the past. Anyone hired in June, if they, aren't able to get that done, that hasn't, but that was prior to House Bill 1118 with that consequence with the grants. But prior to that, we were given that allowance.
So the 1118 doesn't mandate like 1 year from time of employment or 30 days or 60 days? You're saying there's nothing in the bill?
I believe our impression of that is they have to do that annually. So I think that for a new hire, I
Annually
guess
is
that would be
kinda wide
okay.
open. Annually can mean a lot of things. Calendar year, fiscal year, year from the date of hire, there's a lot of annual.
That is true.
It's kind of
So it's
ambiguous.
been our goal to get the training done as soon as possible. We've worked with HR to try to get that arranged during the onboarding period as well.
Okay.
But the other two offices are well-established employees.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So this is just a report, no action, Judge? Is that right? Or
I think the action is that a communication be sent to those out of compliance or close to being out of compliance of the consequences of not meeting the deadline. So if it's okay with the court, Lisa, Dustin, and I'll decide whether it needs to come from IT or it needs to come from my office.
All right, sounds good.
All right?
Okay.
All right,
So
thank
is
you.
that-
That's what I needed was some direction.
So I'll make a motion that a communication of the consequences of not meeting the deadline be extended to those individuals that are shown to be still not in compliance.
Second?
All right, motion made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
M3, Heart of Texas Fair, Exco Event Center, authorization of show pavilion fire system repair. TJ?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So you have before you a proposal from Action Fire for some emergency repairs out at the show barn. We had about 84 feet of pipe that had some pinholes developed, so we had to go ahead and get that replaced. So this is just seeking court approval to move that funding around.
All right, any questions?
TJ, are these pipes inspected yearly?
Typically, we have a yearly inspection on all of our fire prevention systems, and it's a pressure test. We check all the valves and make sure we're holding pressure at a regular, steady pace. So every once in a while, we'll have a pinhole develop. It's just due to the age of the piping. We hadn't seen anything further in the system out there, but we are going to steadily keep an eye on it just to make sure.
Okay, so this didn't show up the last inspection we had, is what I guess, a regular inspection that we had.
No, sir.
Okay. Move to approve, Judge.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Under item N, additional items, N1 is discussion and or action on matters regarding COVID-19. I checked with Elizabeth earlier. There's no update needed today. Under item N2, selection designation of public members and salary grievance committee regarding the FY23 budget. I don't believe there's any action to take at this time. Moving down to item N4 regarding the local provider participation fund, authorization of intergovernmental transfers of funds derived from the county healthcare provider participation fund. I'd like to call on Heather.
Good morning. So this is for the CHIRP program year 2 advanced IGT. It has a settlement date of June 16th. We do not have the exact IGT amount at this time, so we're requesting to IGT up to the balance in the LPPF of $707,853.70.
Okay, any questions for Heather? Not. All right, have a motion, is there a second? Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
N5, authorization of refund requests for overpayment of real estate taxes under the Texas Property Tax Code. As we've done a few agendas past, the tax office has submitted a refund request for the overpayments of taxes, and those are listed in your packet.
Okay, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
N6 is authorization to submit requests for unclaimed capital credits. Texas Comptroller of Accounts under the Texas Property Code and Local Government Code. Comptroller has sent a letter to McLennan County stating that we could possibly have a portion of unclaimed capital credits from electrical cooperatives. And there's a requirement that we submit a form stating we wish to receive those any available funds, which then have to be used in compliance with Local Government Code Section 381.004. And the deadline to request those funds is July 31st.
Okay, any questions?
Dustin, any idea how many millions of dollars we're talking about?
No, so I'm sure it won't be very many.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
You meant volts, didn't you?
I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Move to approve the request for unclaimed capital credits.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And Judge, I believe Commissioner Miller would like to give a COVID update under item N1.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just real briefly, since we saw it on the news over the weekend, they did some inquiries into why we were seeing an increase. And so I did get a report from Waco Family Medicine, if y'all got a few minutes.
Yep.
Okay. And it just says that for the week that ended June 3rd, we added 223 new COVID-19 positive cases, which was 80 cases more than when we added the previous week when we added 143. So we are seeing an uptick in our weekly cases. As of last Friday, we had 5 people in the hospital, but we do not have anyone on a ventilator or in our ICUs. We did not have any additional deaths. We're still at 863 people that have passed. The big question that everyone is asking is, where is this wave coming from? And according to Waco Family Medicine, this is a subvariant of Omicron. And for Commissioner Smith, who likes to be so detailed and scientific, that The specific name is BA.2.12.1, but we can just say it's a subvariant of Omicron.
Thank you.
That's for me and Commissioner Perry. It is more contagious than the one we experienced in January, but they are cautiously optimistic that we are not seeing the death and hospitalization rates that we did with the Delta variant. They are hopeful that it's going to level off soon, but they do want us all to be mindful of the behavior that we've been taught, and that is the social distancing, the masks, and the hygiene practices.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll add to that, I've listened to a program on that this morning, and we're really not sure of the accuracy of the numbers from the standpoint, there's so many home tests that take place now that we don't have any idea how those are reflected. And of course,
Yeah.
and they're not as accurate as the testing at the hospitals or anywhere else, so those numbers could be more, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, these are probably the low end, what
Low
the
end.
public health district is asking people to do. If you do test at home and you test positive, they're asking that you do contact the public health district. All you can do is ask people, but they're asking if you do test positive at home, that you contact them so they can add to the numbers. And if you go up on their website, COVID Waco, like you might see a daily number of total cases, say 69,934, because this is one of the ones that I experienced. Then I went back a week later, and that it was 69,991. So what they do is they try to go back in time and add if they get data in slow. So it's not that they're making up numbers, they are trying to capture those cases as they come in. But you're absolutely right, with the home tests, we're probably reporting on the low end, but on a good note, if they're not telling us, they're also not that sick. Because if they're the sick, they're gonna show up in
They're
the
gonna show up in the hospital.
True. Very
And
true.
so,
Very true.
We have a very low number in that, and that is encouraging. All right, thank you for the report. All right, Dustin.
All right, nothing under item O, Americans with Disabilities Compliance Project. Under item P, the McLennan County Venue Project, including the Paul Tyson demolition. P2 is regarding the Area B demolition project, professional civil engineering services proposal with Walker Partners. And this is an invoice for their services through April 26. Back in December of 2021, we approved a proposal from Walker Partners totaling $24,000 to be invoiced monthly. This is their invoice through April 26th, and it totals $4,100 for services, which includes part of the preparation of the final documents and the franchise utility coordination.
Dustin, what's your opinion on when they'll get started on the actual demolition?
Judge, we're going to be delayed a little bit by the asbestos remediation. I know Ken and TJ have been working on that piece, and the industry's just backed up on that. So we may be a couple months or longer waiting on that before we actually begin. But I guess other work can begin, but
Yeah,
in terms of the,
And my point is, in late summer and into the fall, there's lots of events out there that could use that parking space. And so the remediation is gonna be in the building, right? And not.
it'll be in the building and in the press box as well.
Okay. Well, okay, just keep pressing.
Yes, sir.
No way to fence that off and be able to use the rest of the parking, or is that, Judge, is that not possible, or?
I don't know, maybe that's where we can get Erwin to make some suggestions on that.
Yeah, and we'll work with Wes and Kevin Carr and Bennett at Irwin.
I took a ride out there just this past weekend.
Yeah.
Very impressive what's happening out there.
Yeah, it really
Very
is.
much. That new Paul Tyson field is beautiful.
Oh, it is, it really is. Okay. Let's see, is there a motion to approve the invoice?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Under item Q, McLennan County Radio Tower Project. Q1 is authorization of gate work estimate from Rawls Mechanical Services for Road and Bridge Precinct 4 Tower. Ken?
We, just to update, we built a security fence around the tower there at Precinct 4. They had run the one side of the fence parallel to the pipe fence that already existed to keep people out of the Precinct 4 yard. What we're proposing doing here with this quote is basically providing a line back to the new fence that we built from the pipe fence, and we're going to make it gates, but it gives more area for people to pull off the road that are going to be working on the tower. And so we've visited with the Precinct 4 guys, and they have agreed that that's not a bad idea. It gives them access through, and we feel like it'll work good with what we're trying to do there. Anyway, we're just wanting your approval to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Q2 is regarding the system purchase agreement with Motorola Solutions, authorization of certificate of milestone acceptance for equipment installation completion for site number 3. Site number 3, that is Road and Ridge Precinct 4, and we just need a motion to approve this certificate of milestone acceptance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
All right, moving down to the supplemental agenda under item B. B1 is receipt of petition to create emergency services district and setting date, time, and place of hearing regarding creation of the emergency services district. And Judge, we have Mike and Elizabeth on as well, and I'll kind of give an overview of this, and then we will answer any questions y'all have.
All right, thank you.
So on Friday, we received a petition from Elmont Volunteer Fire Department Chief Casey Perry, and it was the petition to create an emergency services district. That petition required 100 signatures of property of registered voters who are property owners in that actual proposed district. ESDs are local political subdivisions that with voter approval may provide fire protection, emergency medical services, and other emergency services, and they are created by an election of the voters. So like I said, we received this on Friday. Per the statute, the county judge received it and we filed it with the county clerk. The next step is then it's a requirement to have it on your next Commissioners Court agenda, which is today. The action today is to set the date for the public hearing. And so the way the process works is we'll set a public hearing, which has to be more than 21 days out to give the sheriff time to, it actually under the code, the sheriff is the one to deliver the posting, to post the notice and to publish it in the newspaper. David Eyes has checked on that. There is a 3-day lead time to prepare the ad because it will be such a large ad, including the map. But so after 21 days, we can hold a public hearing, and at that time, any interested person can come speak for or against the creation. And the Commissioners Court at that time can act on it if the court finds the district feasible and that it would help with the public health, safety, and welfare in that district. The court can approve it, set the boundaries of it, and then order an election. The election would then be to confirm that it was feasible and to confirm the boundaries and those things as well. So with that, Mike or Elizabeth, did I miss anything or anything y'all want to add?
I don't have anything to add.
No, I think you covered it.
And so, and it would, I believe it's a 10-cent tax in that area is what the maximum allowed under law is. And so during this period, we can work with the appraisal district and with others to, determine what that tax base looks like, to see if, as part of the court's determination of it, if it is feasible. If the court determines it is not feasible, the court can deny that petition. And so our recommendation, looking at the calendar and with the sheriff's office, 21 days would the next agenda after that would roughly be July 5th, but that's your first budget work session. And to give time to make sure the posting is done properly, and the notice, we're recommending, we can go ahead and get it posted maybe later this week or early next week, but then to hold the public hearing at our Tuesday, July 19th court session. That'll be the first day back after the conference the week prior, but I think that would probably be the best time rather than having it on the first day of your budget work sessions. But just wanted to propose that idea to you.
And Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said we also have to post notice in the Waco Trib?
Yes, sir, that's right. And that's actually a requirement of the sheriff.
And who's responsible for paying for that?
That'll be a county responsibility from the way I understand it. And it's a pricey, I believe it's $1,700 or so from what David has found out.
Question, Dustin.
Yes, sir.
If the statute reads that we have to have it on the next agenda, which is today, does the statute say that we have to act on it at this agenda? Or can it be postponed to another agenda,
I
I'm
believe-
thinking about Commissioner Jones not being here for input.
Yes, sir. And I know he was going to try to zoom in, and he had just messaged that he was not going to be able to attend, but he was going to listen to it through YouTube. But the statute actually says that at the next regular or special session of the Commissioners Court held after the petition is filed with the county clerk, Commissioners Court shall set a place, date, and time for the hearing.
Okay,
So I don't believe we can defer that.
okay, very good.
Also, it allows 10%, 10 cents tax, and that's a ceiling, right? So actually the tax, once it's established, the actual tax rate could be set something under that possibly. Is that true?
Yes, sir. That's just the maximum, the way I understand it.
Who serves on the Emergency Services District? Do they elect their own governing body, or how's that work?
The Commissioners Court will actually select an Emergency Services District Board of Commissioners. And so there's 5 commissioners on that board, and they serve a staggered 2-year terms, and they must be a qualified voter within the area of that district
And they would be
and
the
own
ones-
land as well. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. They would be the ones in to set the rate up to the 10% per $100 value.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, Dustin, today's process is
Makes
just
sense.
putting the public hearing into motion.
Yes, ma'am. That's right. Today we will set the date, time, and location of that public hearing.
And anyone who wanted to speak against or for the petition, they'd be at that public hearing.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
I hate Commissioner Jones is not here, but I do see according to their paperwork, it says that they need 100 or more qualified voters who own taxable real property. And the paperwork that they submitted, they have over 100 signatures.
130.
And Jared has reviewed that from a voter registration, and it is above 100. I believe not all are registered voters, but above 100 is. So that box is checked. Then we're working with the appraisal district to confirm that they are property owners in the district as well, because that is a requirement.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions for Dustin? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
I would move to receive the petition to create the Emergency Services District and have the court set a date, time, and place of the hearing regarding that creation of the Emergency Services District.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
I think we're gonna have to actually vote on the date, time, and place also. I mean, there's a second part of this.
Because what we just voted on, we didn't have a choice.
Right.
We have to vote on that. It has to be a,
So
Yeah, so now
Dustin,
we
give
gotta
us the
set
date,
one.
time, and what do you,
I think the recommendation would be, and David Ives has messaged me, it's $1,700 a day to run that posting. I believe it has to run once each week for 2 weeks. The recommendation from us would be to have it in the commissioner's courtroom at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, July 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And that publication only has to be run once each week. It doesn't have to be run every day of the week, just one time each week.
And you're saying that county bears the cost? Are we sure on that, or is that something you can look at?
We can look at that because in the petition, I did notice that the signers or circulators of the petition said something about bearing costs. So we'll look at that.
I think that cost there was alluding to filing the petition and as opposed to advertising it. But yeah, if you can look at that and see who's actually responsible for that, I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, and Judge, we have a few action items left. I know we'll need to jump into executive session, so I don't know if we can move on to the Brinkley Sergeant Wigington agreement. Didn't know if you needed to take wanted to take a break or anything.
Yeah, let's take it is currently 9:54. Let's come back here at 11 a.m.
10:54.
10:54. What did I say?
Give us an hour.
10:54. Come back in 5 minutes. You know, 5 work?
Well, yeah, down from an hour, 5 over.
All right.
It's just been an hour.
When are we?
We recording?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's call court back into session. All right, Dustin.
All right, if we could go back to item H1, authorization of standard form of agreement with Brinkley Sargent Wigington Architects regarding the McLennan County Downtown Jail remodel for courtrooms and office space. Mike, did you want to go back over this?
Yes, it's an AIA contract, which we had to modify to fit a construction manager risk situation. We were able to do that. And there's a lot of other modifications to their format and things that they had in there. For example, the overage time at which they would start charging additional construction administration fees was set at 20 months, and we changed it to 26, and we reduced the dollar amount by about half. So there's a lot of good changes that were made. I know it looks a little bit funky because of the crossouts. That's a format matter that comes with the AIA document, and it's supposed to be in there to show you what was changed out of the agreement. Then we have the attachments for the consultants. I think we've all been through them. I know Zane had looked at them pretty closely and had comments. So at this time, I believe it's ready to be signed, approved and signed.
Any questions? Y'all feel comfortable with the scope? In other words, everything that it covers. I can see sometimes where we think of something after we get started and we have to kind of expand what we're looking at, both in area and type of service.
And if there's changes that come up, if the scope changes either to reduce the scope or to increase the scope, those are easily done by addendum.
Okay.
Well, I think part of the difficulty in writing this one was the fact that this person was going to coordinate with a CMR too. Isn't that correct, Mike? And so that created
right.
some additional work on y'all's part. I appreciate the fact that y'all went back and cleaned it up a lot, made it a lot easier to read, and I do appreciate the work that went into that. What's the amount? It's not listed here. What are they asking for on this agreement?
It's 7% of the estimated construction costs. Dustin, do you have that?
Yeah, I believe the basic architectural engineering services fee is right at 2.8 million. It has an initial construction budget set at 39.1 million for contractual purposes, and then that's 7% of that construction budget.
Which is a very good rate. You know, I think we had 8% on the venue.
Yeah, but
project.
It's based off of this 39 million, which is, every time we talk about it, that piece goes up, and it's based off that fee. Is that, so how do we comfortable that this is a project that's gonna cost 39 million?
Well, what if it costs 20 million? Are they still gonna get 2.8? I mean, is it?
It's a percentage, isn't it?
It's a percentage. Is it a flat percentage, or is there a guaranteed rate, amount?
No, the amount's fixed. So Dustin, I don't recall anything that changed the amount based on. Now, if we reduced the scope, then we would negotiate a reduction of the fee. Okay, that would happen. But as far as it going up because the cost is more. Unless the scope has been increased, so we've had to increase their fee. I don't believe there's anything that would make it. Let's see, here it is. The budget may be adjusted anytime by the owner authorization. Basic services fee will be adjusted based on final, I can't read that, and design development estimate. Following, the architect shall receive no adjustment following the design development fixed fee. So
Say it again, no adjustment what?
Following the design development fixed fee. So when they get to the design development stage, which is the stage before you go to contract documents, that will set the construction budget in stone. So at that point, so it's a combination of both. This is the fee based on the estimate right now. If the fee is higher if the budget is higher at the end of the design development phase, the estimated budget, that fee will be increased to that, but at that point it's fixed.
Okay.
And if it
So
went down,
let me make it a little simpler. Right now, this is not a fixed fee. It will be fixed after the design development phase, whatever the estimated fee, estimated cost is at that phase. But with the CMAR involved, that actually could go down. We're looking at a budget that doesn't have any of the benefits of a CMAR being involved in it right now. Looking at for alternative systems and materials, constructability, stuff like that they do that will actually should decrease the budget. Unfortunately, in the time we're in, everything the costs are escalating and our lead times are getting significantly more. And that's another reason the CMAR is good. Is one thing that they will do is come in and start recommending, okay, we know you're going to need this. Start ordering it right now. Don't wait until you get to that part of the project. Start ordering it now so we can take out some of those lead times.
And refresh my memory, Judge, from our ARPA money, we estimated we had about $10 million that we could spend.
yes,
Okay,
yep.
okay.
So, let me be sure I understand this. So the design development estimate is created, but if you have a construction manager at risk and they're gonna come in and take this design and they're gonna put their cost into it, or they're gonna do their estimated cost, which could possibly lower the estimated total cost, the dollar amount that the Brinkley Sargent put in, then our rate with Brinkley Sargent would be reduced. Not our rate, but our total dollar amount, our cost would fluctuate with that. And then the CMAR fee would be a percentage based on actual cost. If they come in under budget, which we did on the base, then that fee cost is less, right?
Yeah, on their fee, the CMAR fee is generally in the 4% range, somewhere around in
It's
there.
competitive.
you know, when they have to compete against each other, that in fact, on the venue project, I think Irwin bid what was it, Dustin?
It was either 2.3 or 2.7.
Yeah. So
Percent?
percent.
Okay, wow, okay.
Okay. So,
But it will be a fixed fee after the design development phase. That once we reach that point, that estimate, their 7% applied to that will be fixed. No matter if they run into construction increases and stuff like that later.
But again, that's after value engineering, correct?
yeah. Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. All right.
All right, Judge, we still have the two HR items under the consent agenda. I know Commissioner Miller would like to talk about the E1F, the recording of that proclamation. Commissioner, do you want to do that now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dustin. And I apologize. I knew we were going to record it. I don't know why I didn't pull it at the beginning, but I just wanted to ask you all to just kind of take the time to look over. We've already approved it. We're just recording it. This is the proclamation that we gave to Mr. Ira Lee Walton. Posthumously, we gave it to him, but on Memorial Day. And I was really proud to do it. Again, like I said, he's one of the few that McLennan County has had the privilege to know, a veteran of 3 wars. And he made Waco his home. He's a graduate of A.J. Moore High School. So he's a native here. He wasn't born here, but he adopted us. And he was here most of his life, but he was a veteran of World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. And I want to thank the court for allowing me to present his family with the proclamation on Memorial Day.
Quite welcome.
Thank you.
It's our honor.
We've already approved it through the consent agenda, but
Yes, sir. I just wanted to make note of it since we're finally recording it.
thank you for doing that. All right.
Judge, I think it would be all right to go on into executive session now under 551.074 and recommend that Mike and Anna stay in.
All right, we'll go under executive session under 551.074.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Recording stopped.
Bye, Reagan.
Judge, is the other proclamation up there? Can I just take that with me?
I think Mercedes gets this, doesn't she?
You hadn't signed yet, I don't.
Oh.
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right, let's call court back into session, it's 11:50. All right, going to, under consent agenda, the two pulls, one is E3A, HR matters for IT director in position. I guess, be appropriate for a motion to defer.
So move.
Second?
Have a motion deferred and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Under E3B is HR matter for district clerk's office. What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to defer.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, is there anything else to come before court today? Justin?
Judge, I know we did a lot of skipping around, so if Mercedes or Reagan wants to just double check, but I believe we hit all the action items.
Thumbs up from over.
All right. I think we're good. Okay, if there's not anything else to come before the court, we stand adjourned.